Hi, my name's Ian and welcome to my channel, and this is the first one of these things I'm doing, an unboxing. How exciting. But I thought I'd give it a go, so excuse all of the ad-libs and fumbling over this. So this came this morning. It's from a Kickstarter, and if you've been paying attention to any of my channels, you'll know that I like pulp fiction, pulp fantasy and science fiction, and this game ties into that. So it was a Kickstarter game that was launched for Conan the Barbarian, sort of board / role-playing type thing, mainly a board game. But what attracted me to the Kickstarter a couple of years ago now, when was it? Whenever the Kickstarter was. Pre-COVID, I think. But what attracted me to the Kickstarter was the fact that it was a board game that both had solo and competitive elements to it, and also a sort of number of, instead of like these boring old tiles that you get in most games and most fantasy role-playing board games, you're just assembling tiles and things. This game had an interesting kind of thing to it, where each of the maps used, the boards, the tiles, whatever used for the game, can be built up to assemble a tower. So I'm quite interested to see how that works and how well that works and how sturdy each of the boards, tiles, rooms, whatever is, whether they're flimsy cardboard or whether they're actually got some decent structure to them. So and there's miniatures and stuff in there as well, so we'll see what it's like. It's the Tower of the Elephant board game that was, like I said, on Kickstarter. Yeah, how exciting. Well, we'll take a look at it and see what we get. Trusty Swiss Army knife. There's no Scouter should be without one of these things. Poor thing needs sharpening. It's done a lot of mileage. Right. So what we got? Oh, well, the kids will have fun popping that. And there it is. Oh, this is actually more compact than I thought it was going to be, but that's fine. That's fine. Oh, there's a bag of there's a bag of stands. So as well as the plastic miniatures, there's should be some cardboard ones in there. I think that's everything in the box. So that's everything in the box. One pack of well, the sticker kind of screws with that a little bit. Never mind. Tell you what I'm going to do. Oh God, let's turn that so I can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, so Temple of the Elephant, Tower of the Elephant, just a bag of plastic standees there. Okay, let's flip it over. So this is what we're meant to have. See what I mean? This is the idea, where each of the boards stacks on top of each other to form the tower. I don't think that has, I think it's just aesthetic. I don't think it has any bearing on the game itself. You have to use each of the game boards as a separate thing, but we'll get into this. You see, 1 to 2 players, hour to an hour and a half of playtime. Yeah, so what we got in there? So it introduces us as Conan the Cimmerian. The Tower of the Elephant is a towering adventure in tabletop combat. There are 2 ways to play. In solo mode, a single player becomes Conan, battling the game itself. In battle mode, one player becomes Conan, fighting to steal the elephant's heart, and the other player becomes the twisted wizard Yara, casting spells and soldiers and things to punish Conan for his temerity. Well, they've certainly got some of the language now. So yeah, the contents, what did it say? Rulebook, scenario book, to 9 tenfold dungeon locations. So that's the dungeon locations that stack on top of each other. 25 standees, okay, 25 standee bases. Oh, I've forgotten this separately, that's odd. 4 miniatures, 3 special item cards, 40 item card. Just like cards. And there's a number of the games that just say, this game is so fantastic because we've got a few hundred cards in it, and just, it's beyond me. But whatever. Some people are enamoured by having thousands of cards in a game. 34 skill cards, okay, 30 plot and plan cards for the 2-player game only. 1 Conan card, 1 Taurus card, 23 enemy cards, 1 helper card, 1 combat round and experience tracker, and gaming tokens, counters, and dice. See, it doesn't say, it contains 6 million dice. Oh, right, so let's have a look inside the actual game itself. Okay, so that's one of the first maps, and that's obviously the game box, so that's pretty sturdy. You can see the actual lid itself has got one of the maps in it. That's going to be the gate, isn't it, for the courtyard. So the rulebook, I've seen this before in PDF from the actual, nicely spaced out, nicely illustrated. Yeah, through the Kickstarter, all the materials were sent as PDFs to start with. That's yeah, there we see why the tower stood up. Cool, interesting, right. Rulebook. Scenario book. Just for scenario 1 and Malta. Okay, the tavern is separate, that's why that's separate on the box. And then we have that one, and then the spider's there, and okay, that's nice, right, all easy and clear. Well, that's a spider and a half, isn't it? This is nice. It's like when you get these cards that with skills and abilities and everything else that are just so scattered with tons and tons and tons of stuff. It's I don't know. To me, I know some people like board games that are a bit more complex in terms of the statistics and everything else. But to me, it's a warning sign. If you've got a statistics card and it is so dense, that tells me that the game is a bit ridiculous. Unless it's called Civilization, which you expect a bit of complexity and stuff with that. But for something that you just want to kill an hour with. So this is nice. This is about the level you want. Just a few things with places to put to records or counters or whatever in there. Nothing too dense or anything like that. Like you see. What was once Taurus? Okay, again, simple records. That's good. Nice illustrations as well. Okay, so that's the tracker. That's pretty easy. It's going to be Yara, isn't it? Yeah, so Yara. Big card for Conan. Main hero. Okay, so that's it's a cardstock thing of stuff. Oh, at the start of this round, add fatigue to the token, discard when full. Okay, so as time goes on, you fill in various bits of it. The tiles, more tokens. There's one of the standees. So the standees are they really. I suppose it's like standard for games these days. I mean, the standees back in the day, really thin cardboard, and they didn't last being pulled in and out of bases too long. But you know, these things are, it's quite sturdy cardstock. Same, yeah, about the same thickness as the cardstock of the box itself. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Sheet of standees, yeah, same one's come out already. But yeah, I mean they're nicely illustrated and really quite sturdy there. So that's always good. All right. Oh, no, packet of silica. Okay. So these blocks, they're plastic, but you know, I'm old, so I prefer wood, but plastic's good enough for putting onto the record sheets to record what's going on. Some more standees. So I wonder what we've got. We got some black standees and some bit odd. I'm not sure why. Oh well, okay, but it is what it is. We have 2 sets of those. More gems for recording stuff. Ton of dice. We got 6 of each colour. Oh, more reds, more blacks. Is that a spacer? Oh no, it's not. Oh, they're the miniatures. We'll deal with the miniatures in a second. Cards. Go first, Initiative 01. Plot and Pay. Okay, so they're the plot and play cards, and see, they're nice. This is another thing, you know, some cards, I get it with, it's a card game like Magic or Vampire Eternal Struggle and stuff, where the cards actually do all sorts of things and serve all sorts of purposes, where you smothered the card in symbols to do various aspects or tie into various aspects of the game. But you know, it's nice having a game that's only got, you know, some really basic, this is what this card does stuff on it, you know. That's pretty cool. Even more counters. The record cards for all of the various non-player characters and the monsters. I was just thinking it was the thing that was Taurus that was the large one, wasn't it? Right, so this is the bit that I was interested in, as whether these things were going to be flimsy cardboard or actually solid. And as it happens, let's just tip them out like this. As it happens, okay, so the bottom of the box is the tavern. So that's the tavern map, and then this is the garden map, and then all of these are the tower, and they're sturdy. It's the same gauge of card as the box. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So there's no locking mechanism to actually stack them. I wasn't sure whether there would be spacers or guides for how they actually stack on top of each other. They are a tight fit though. Come on, come on. So yeah, it's really nice artwork on the boards themselves, and they just stack like this. They are a little bit difficult now. Maybe this is first time out of the box kind of thing. Maybe they get easier. Staircase. Now there's a grid on top. Now that's nice. That's something I didn't get a sense of from the. If you look at the pictures from the back of the box. Back of the box. You don't really get a sense that the tower itself has got anything going for it on the outside of the box. You've got the the various parts of the map on the inside, but each of them has also got a grid, a play grid on the top of the box there. So that's something I didn't pick up from the gen that came through from the Kickstarter, and is a nice touch as well. And all of this just comes out of that one box, so you know it's a lot of tiles and interesting things to build. More stairs. There you have it. That's the whole tower from above. Tower from above. And I'm quite impressed with that. I really was expecting. I was expecting, you know, a much thinner cardstock to be used for the tiers and for the standees, but that's really thick and durable. That'll last as long as the box itself. Exactly what exactly I was hoping for, but not what I was expecting. So maybe I'm just cynical in that way. Now the miniatures. What are the miniatures like? So there's 4 miniatures. Oh, they got a bit tangled. They go with each other. Right, okay, so there are 4 miniatures. So we have one spider. And if you know the story of the Tower of the Elephant, then you know, the spider is quite the encounter in there. I think actually it's the major. I can't remember any of the other parts of the tower that cause anything further in there. Who we got? We've also got. We've got Taurus. We have Yara, of course. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call these the most exciting miniatures going, but you know, they're board game miniatures. What do you want? Do you want? They are pretty good, though. I mean, the detail on them is pretty good. Pretty good. They're definitely a quality, a bit of a seam line. Bit of a seam line there, but they're a good enough quality to even be put on a role-playing board. But with board games, you know, I'm not sure you kind of expecting. Gamora, cat's come to check out what's going on. And definitely they're not. What do they call them these days? They're taller than 25, but they are not 32 or whatever they call it now. It keeps the figure scale keeps escalating, doesn't it? We used to play with 25s, and then it went to 32s. Now grief knows what it is. 25, 28, 32. 32 is heroic scale, isn't it? Don't know, lost on me. Yeah, I think they're 28s. But that's Conan. I think they're pretty good. I think they're on a par with the Dungeons and Dragons board games. They're made of a flexible plastic, which I like. So you can see Conan's sword is quite bendy there and goes back. So it's like some of the miniatures games you get, or games that come with miniatures, the miniatures are either made of that plastic that is far too flexible, so they, when you're storing them, throwing them in a box or whatever, they end up bending each other and staying bent, or they're made of a harder plastic that just going to snap as they throw them through. This strikes me as being a good medium, even the spider's legs there, good medium between the two. It doesn't feel as brittle as the plastic with the miniatures that came from something like Tomb of Annihilation. The miniatures in there came out with very hard plastic that was brittle. But on the other hand, with the earlier games in that series, like Ravenloft and Wrath of Ashardalon, the miniatures are too bendy. It's too bendy. So it seems that they've got a nice medium in the miniatures there. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed. And it was always going to be a good game for the initial description of it, as or at least component-wise. I've yet to play, so we'll see how it plays at some point. But you know, for a Conan game, like one of the reasons why I like pulp fantasy is it's something that you can entertain yourself with by just popping in, sitting on the loo or whatever, read a short chapter or a short story, or something that's not going to break the bank in terms of time or investment. That doesn't make you. It gives you the entertainment. It gives you an entertainment value that's immediate, and it's over and done with in a short period of time. It doesn't try and sort of stretch you out for volume upon volume, which is why things like, I remember the Wheel of Time when it came out. Once that reached 9,700 volumes, you get a bit fatigued. If you end up with a single series that just absorbs all your time, you don't get the chance to expose yourself to any other things in the authors. And if you're anything like me and you've got 5 or 6 books that you're reading at the same time, usually different genres, usually science fiction, and there's a science fiction book on the go, like I'm reading one of the Judge Dredd novel anthologies, short story anthologies at the moment, and a fantasy one. What are we reading in fantasy at the moment? I think I'm rereading. I'm rereading the Moonshine series, the Forgotten Realms series, and then there's a few others. One of the old Fleming books and things. It depends on what you feel like on any given day. If you don't fancy fantasy, then you just go and read a chapter from a science fiction book that you've got on the go, or a spy thriller that you've got on the go. But pulp fantasy, it's not. It can be intellectually challenging. It can challenge your ideas, but it doesn't. They don't stretch your reading patience or whatever. So all of these volumes where they've gone immensely proud of these books that are thousands of pages and multiple volumes, you kind of look at them on the bookshelf and you think, I just don't have the time or the patience to get into someone else's world to that degree. So yeah, I'm not a fan of things like Game of Thrones or the Wheel of Time. But stuff like Conan and Fritz Leiber, where they build up, the short stories build up into longer narratives, if you rearrange them into a chronology. And that's what I'm hoping that this game it depicts. You've got an hour playing time. Being able to sit down and pick something off the shelf, and I like that I like that it's smaller than I thought it would be, because it means it's not going to take up so much shelf space as well. So this is something, grab off the shelf, pick one of the maps up, have a look at the scenarios, go through, and then just play it, and like a pulp fiction chapter, it'd be over and done with entertain you for an hour and then packed away again. So I think on the surface of it so far, from the look at this, they've captured that essence of Conan or Pulp Fiction or whatever. So a Pulp Fiction board game. There we go. That's what I'm trying to fish for. Yeah, I'm rambling, but tough. That's what I'm like when I'm going off script. It's what I'm like when I'm on script, but you never know. Don't give me a script and it's even worse. So yeah, first impressions, and component-wise, really impressed. Really like the fact that the cardstock standees are on a nice thick card, as are all the tokens and stuff like that. You kind of expect tokens to be, but you know, quite often the standees aren't. Cards look very concise and clear. I would say the dice look a bit naff, but you know, they don't look to be the best quality die. Let's get one out and have a look. They look a bit sort of light and plasticky. Yeah, they are. They are light and plasticky. So the dice aren't fantastic, but you know, if I want a game producer to invest in components, then if they got to have lower quality dice in order to have higher quality boards like this, then you know, I'm happy with that. I don't really. That's not a moan. I'm just pointing out that the fact that the dice are akin to compendium of games type dice. And if you live in the UK, you might know what that means, rather than you know, Chessex quality dice or anything like that. Yeah, so that's it. So Tower of the Elephant. I'll take a picture of it on the side to throw on the video so you can see what that's like as well when it's all stood up. Other than that, yeah, I'm happy with that. We'll see how it plays in due course. So, thank you for watching, and if you've got any hints or tips about how to do unboxings without rambling on like a lunatic, then comment below, and if you, for whatever reason, enjoy what I'm doing with my channel, or the multiple various weird things that I'm throwing up, then you know, all of the good YouTube stuff, like and subscribe and whatever the rest is. Other than that, have a great day, and see you in the next one, whatever it happens to be.